Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. This is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and today I'm running solo. That's right, Lisa is at work right now, which is kind of a good thing because there's a couple topics that I wanted to bring up today that she's not exactly an expert on, so I'm going to rant on for a little while. Just bear with me. And then, of course, you guys fire back on social media or the email account and let me know what you think as well. Now, here we are. It is Tuesday, November 8th, Election Day. That's right, kids. I hope by now you casted your vote to see who you think is going to be in charge of this country. Hopefully, you made the right choice. And if you didn't, just go ahead and unfriend me on Facebook and Twitter because let's just say if you voted for someone who resembles Lex Luthor minus the hair, don't ever talk to me again. Anyway, guys, but I'm here. I'm going to talk about some other stuff to get your mind off this dreaded election, and hopefully we can have some fun while doing it. So, starting off, if you're new to the show, first thing to do, I run through some topics. I'm going to talk about DC stuff, Marvel stuff, usually some Star Wars and Harry Potter if there is any, and then go to miscellaneous. Now today, like I said, I'm by myself, so I'm going to go off some more unpopular topics perhaps, but more stuff that Lisa isn't really well versed in, and that's going to mean TV, guys. Of course, I consume a lot of TV, just like I do a lot of movies, and I try to consume quite a few comic books. The problem is, I've got a full-time job, I've got a kid, I've got a wife, I've got a life, and even I can't keep up with it all, which is why when it comes to TV, I have to be choosy in what I do. Usually my rule is, if I'm not dying to watch that show every week, that new episode every week, or even, when the series comes up on Netflix, chances are I usually drop it. And within the last few weeks or month or so, since the fall shows have started back up, I try to pick up one or two shows every season, or at least, and just give them a try. I think there's about 4 or 5 I gave a try, and there's 2 still new shows that I still watch. One of them is NBC's Timeless. It might be a little cheesy, and yeah, it's probably not the best, but I like it, so I stick with it. The other one is The Good Place with what's her name? The girl from Frozen, Dax Shepard's wife. I can't even say her name. Kristen? I don't know. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. I'm an episode behind on that because honestly, I haven't felt the need to watch the new episode. So in that case, I might let that one go. I'm not sure. So as of right now, like I said, I've tried out a couple new shows. The only ones that I'm still with are Timeless and The Good Place. I might drop The Good Place and just go with Timeless, but we'll wait and see. I'll watch this new episode. Maybe it'll perk my spirits back up to continue on with the series. Another series I did pick up as well, Netflix, is The Crown. It's about young Queen Elizabeth II and her whole reign, her relationship with her husband. Really digging that, really liking that a lot. It's got Matt Smith, the former Doctor Who, on it. He and the main actress on that, whose name escapes me right now, is doing a really good job. So I recommend that, guys. It's a good drama. Now to talk about a couple shows that I have dropped. In regards to the sci-fi and fantasy realm, I talked a couple weeks ago about me stopping out Westworld. So I usually have a rule, guys, is I give a show 3 episodes. If I think the premise is intriguing, I give it 3 episodes, and if I'm not sucked in by then, I usually drop it. With Westworld, I gave it 3 episodes. After that first episode, I really enjoyed it. I thought they were going somewhere good. But then after that third episode, I was looking on my phone most of the time. I wasn't really even watching the episode. And I get it. I get what they're trying to do. The only thing is it's a TV show, so I know it's drawn out a little more. And people have said these last couple episodes have been really good as well. So I'm tempted to try to give it another shot. But at the same time, like I just said, I watch a lot of TV. And because I've been watching a lot of TV these last few weeks, I haven't watched hardly any new movies. I try to watch 2 new movies a week. And it's just been, with all the shows, hard for me to do that. And I feel like, I need to find that balance. I know, luckily, after November, you got your break coming up for the holidays, so I'll be able to catch up on some movies, but I feel like I'm so far behind on that, I need to be more choosy about my TV. And Westworld, I can see why people like it. I'll call it a good show, but for my cup of tea, for what I like in a show, it's really not hitting me. And like I said, the last couple of episodes I heard have been really good. So maybe when the break is on and I'm sitting there and I don't have anything to do but watch episodes of The League for the 5th time, maybe I'll try watching a couple episodes, see if I can pick it back up, but I highly doubt it. Now, one other show that I've tried to pick back up but couldn't get into it, Legends of Tomorrow. That's right. Especially with Supergirl moving over to the CW, you got 4 nights of DC superhero shows on the CW. You got The Flash, you got Arrow, you got Supergirl, you got DC's Legends Tomorrow. And I enjoy Supergirl. Arrow's getting better. I'm really liking Arrow picking back up. And The Flash is The Flash. You know, it's decent this season so far. But I imagine, it picks up as the season goes on. Legends Tomorrow, I tried to pick back up. I mean, I watched first couple episodes last season and, a couple episodes towards the end of the season. And the fact that Supergirl was coming over and you're going to have all these 4 shows that are leading towards this big crossover, I thought I could, jump back in and try to stick with it, but I just can't, guys. I mean, the characters and the story it doesn't do it for me. So, sadly, again, I wasn't excited to watch it, so I just had to drop it. So, I'm still with the other 3 shows, Supergirl, Arrow, The Flash. Definitely, I like all those 3, but Legends Tomorrow, I had to drop. I couldn't stick with it, so, oh well. In any event, there's plenty of TV to watch. So, getting on to the first official topic of the day. Coming up March 17th, we got our next Marvel Netflix show, Iron Fist, which I am super excited about. And then after that, in late March, or late 2000, excuse me, I got tongue-tied. In late 2017, we're going to have The Defenders. Now, The Defenders is all 4 heroes from our Netflix shows, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, all coming together to face off against a villain who we now know is going to be played by Sigourney Weaver. In a very sense, it's like the Marvel Avengers film. You had your individual films, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, and then they all came together in one film for the Avengers. Pretty much what they're doing here, except for it's going to be a whole season of TV of this, and I gotta say I'm excited about it. So far, none of the Marvel Netflix series has let me down. Out of all of them, Daredevil Season 2 is my favorite. My least favorite probably might be Luke Cage, but Daredevil Season 1 I think might be on that same level, honestly. So, anyhow, I'm excited for Iron Fist. He's one of my favorite Marvel characters. So I'm totally excited for that. Well, this week, or the last couple weeks, they've been announcing a bunch of casting for the film. Excuse me, not film, TV. I'm off my game today, guys. Sorry, just bear with me, okay? Anyway, they announced a bunch of people who were in previous Netflix Marvel series that are coming back to be in The Defenders. So, just to read off a couple of them, Eldon Henson is coming back as Foggy Nelson. Foggy, of course, being the second half of Nelson and Murdoch. So he's going to come back, as well as Carrie-Anne Moss as Jareth Hogarth, the lawyer we saw in Jessica Jones. Now, we also saw her briefly in Daredevil Season 2. If you haven't finished Daredevil Season 2, first off, what the hell's wrong with you? It's awesome. And second, fast forward a little bit, okay? So, at the end of Daredevil Season 2, Foggy was actually joining Jareth Hogarth's law practice, becoming into the corporate world, so to speak. Now, we also know that Carrie-Anne Moss's character is going to be in Iron Fist, which makes sense because Danny Rand, is a billionaire. So, of course, he's got to deal with all those corporate lawyers and high society. So, it makes sense that Jareth Hogarth would be someone that the Iron Fist would cross paths with. But I'm also curious, since Jareth Hogarth is making an appearance in Iron Fist and Foggy Nelson now works for her, if there's any chance we might get a Foggy appearance in Iron Fist. I think it'd be cool. Some more casting. We got Ika Darville as Malcolm DeCoste. I think I said his last name right. He was the neighbor to Jessica Jones, who was kind of like the drug addict or whatever that Jessica helped out. And then also Rachel Taylor is returning as Trish Walker, a.k.a. Hellcat. That's Jessica Jones' best friend. So those two are coming back from the series. Curious to see, as far as Rachel Taylor's character, if she's going to transform completely into the character of Hellcat or not. We'll just have to wait and see about that. We got Scott Glenn coming back as Stick. Daredevil's mentor. He is phenomenal. I love what Glenn has done with the character. He plays him brilliantly. My favorite episode in Daredevil Season 1 was the Stick flashback, as well as Season 2. He was really good in those episodes as well. This, of course, makes me think that what we're going to get into with the Defenders is our heroes are going to be taking on the Hand, that ninja clan that we found out about in Daredevil Season 2. And I have a feeling we're also going to see in Iron Fist as well, because they announced one of the other castings is that Yolanda Young is going to return as Elektra. Now again, Daredevil Season 2 spoiler, cover your ears. Elektra died at the end of Season 2 of Daredevil, but as we all know from Daredevil the movie or even Daredevil comic books, Elektra comes back. And I have a feeling that she is going to be leading the Hand against the Defenders in the city of New York. And it's going to be good. I think that's kind of where a place they can definitely go with it. Some other casting, let's see here. Of course, Rosario Dawson is coming back as Claire Temple. Rosario Dawson doing a phenomenal job as being the glue character that is going throughout all these heroes. She kind of hooked up with Daredevil and Luke Cage. I have a feeling she's not going to hook up with Iron Fist, given how she's in a pseudo relationship with Luke Cage, who, again, spoiler for the end of Luke Cage, is in jail. But we did see at the end of Luke Cage that she picked up a sign or a number off the post for self-defense classes by a character, Colleen Wigg, played by Jessica Hedwig. She is going to be featured in Iron Fist. And for those of you who don't know, Misty Knight and Colleen Wigg actually go on to form the crime-fighting group Daughters of the Dragon, where they're kind of like a detective agency, and they then hook up with Luke Cage and Iron Fist later on to help be the heroes for hire. So all these characters coming in, it's really cool. They actually showed a picture, I know, a week before from the set of the Defenders with Jessica Jones and Misty Knight on there. That looks awesome. I'm just excited for it. You know, like I said, I'm excited what they've done with these Netflix shows and the Marvel characters. It's a little bit grittier than what they're doing up on the big screen. I just saw Doctor Strange a couple days ago, which if you want to read my review of that, that's up on iTunes and YouTube and all the places where I post this podcast. But it was a decent movie. I liked it, but it's so formulaic in terms of the Marvel film. They have a graph or a diagram or whatever that works for them, and you can see it in all these hero stories or all these origin stories. It's very much becoming paint by numbers. They have their own distinction as far as from Ant-Man to Doctor Strange, and going from science to the mystic arts and all that, but just the story beats are very similar in that sense. So, and they're also very family friendly, which I get. They're movies, that's fine. I'm okay with it. But I love the Marvel series because these are Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. These are the guys who aren't as powerful as, say, Thor or the Incredible Hulk. But they're still heroes, and they're not out to save the world. They're out to save the neighborhood. So I'm interested to see how far they're going to go with the Defenders as far as the villain. I guess they said that it was supposed to be Mephisto, which it's a demon, and it was supposed to then go possibly lead into the other superhero shows they might want to do, such as a Blade, a Ghost Rider, or a Moon Knight. Now, Ghost Rider is currently on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on ABC, which I don't watch, but I heard it's good. I heard the guy who plays him is really good, so bringing him over to a Netflix show, I mean, I guess I wouldn't be opposed to it. I just don't see how you take a PG character and then bring him over to a rated R world. I don't think that works, but anyway, now some of the other shows we're going to get after the Defenders, we got Daredevil Season 3, which I am psyched about, Jessica Jones Season 2, and the Punisher spinoff. We saw John Berthal in Daredevil Season 2, hands down the standout of that season. He's getting his own series, and it's said that Deborah Ann Wool, who plays Karen Page, is going to be in that series as well, which makes sense because in Daredevil Season 2, Karen and Frank Castle kind of had that relationship where he trusted her over anyone else, so I get that. I guess in some of the set pictures where they're filming Punisher already, there's always some pictures out of Deborah Ann Wool and John Berthal sitting on a bench together talking, so we can see that that character will be featured in The Punisher as well. Now, I'm sure we're going to get more casting news with the Defenders coming up. How big a role these characters are going to be, I don't think a lot of them are going to be a big, probably as far as roles in the Defenders, I can see Scott Glenn as Stick and Yolanda Young as Elektra probably being the bigger roles out of everyone, just because, like I said, it's my theory that I think they're going to have to deal with the Hand and Elektra taking over New York. That's just my theory, of course. I have no idea what exactly they're doing. This is just my theory as far as what maybe I would do or what I think they might do. So I can see the Stick and Elektra being a bigger part of the Defenders than, say, some of the other characters like Foggy or even Malcolm. Now, of course, Rosario Dawson, I'm sure, is going to play a big part because, again, she is that glue that holds everyone together. It's my understanding that when things start to go south, she's going to bring in Iron Fist and Jessica and Daredevil, and they're going to be like, hey, we got to take these guys on. Let me go get my boyfriend, too. Let's break him out of prison. Boom. Defenders, go fight. That's how it's going to go. You can't quote me on it, but that's how I think it's going to go, at least, guys. So, but if you haven't caught up on the Netflix series, please go check them out. They're really good, really great stuff. They're not like the Marvel movies, guys, okay? They're, like I said, they're grittier. Daredevil Season 2 especially is totally rated R, hardcore. I mean, it's John Berthel just unleashing the Punisher that you think a real-life Punisher should be, with all the blood and bullets in it. So, but check it out. Really good storytelling. So, speaking of other Marvel characters that possibly might get their own series on Netflix, while promoting his new movie, The Arrival, Jeremy Renner talked to IGN about the possibility of maybe doing a Hawkeye series in the vein of the Marvel Netflix series like Daredevil or Luke Cage. And he said, quote, I don't know the practicality of that, but any of these characters I play, I love to dig into them more. I never feel like I get enough time with any character I play, and that's one of them. Now, Hawkeye is set to next be in Avengers Infinity War that comes out in 2018. Now, let's know also that Hawkeye does have a critically successful solo series going on right now by Matt Fraction, who's a good writer, so of course he's going to write a good comic, in which kind of Hawkeye is on the streets, living his own life when he's not with the Avengers, and you get to see kind of how this ordinary guy lives his life in the presence of gods like Iron Man and Thor and Captain America and stuff like that. I've read a couple volumes of it. Pretty good storytelling. Not enough for me to, hold my attention, I guess, but I can definitely see taking that premise and turning it into a Netflix series. Now, again, just like taking Ghost Rider and putting him in the Netflix Marvel Universe, you're taking a character that's in a PG to PG-13 world and then putting him in a rated R world. So, he can't play nice. Those arrows he shoots, they're going to have tips on them. They're going to have to, go in somebody's eye. It'd be a lot grittier, and that's going to be difficult because you've already established character in the PG-13 world. So say you have a 12-year-old kid who's going to be like, oh, Hawkeye, I like Hawkeye in the movies. Mommy, can I watch this Hawkeye show on Netflix? She'll be like, oh, Hawkeye, he's from the movies. He's fine. Yeah, go ahead and watch it. And then again, you see Hawkeye, shoot an arrow and goes right through somebody's head. Mommy's not going to be too happy about that. So I think in that respect, I don't know if I really want... I would love to see a Hawkeye Netflix series because I think the potential of the character is great. A lot better than what he's been utilized in the movies. But to take him from, what we know him as in that PG, family-friendly environment and put him in that rated R world, I think you're kind of asking for trouble as far as the transfer audience. Again, for the kids wanting to see more of Hawkeye, they're going to try to check out the Netflix series, and that's not the Hawkeye they should be watching, speaking from a father's perspective. Okay, guys, so we are stepping out of the Marvel Universe and dipping our toe into the DC world of TV. Now, this next story is something that happened last night. I literally, saw it on my Facebook feed, and I had to slap myself, check multiple sources, and just confirm that I was not dreaming. I pinched myself. I couldn't believe it. Turns out that Warner Brothers Animation has announced that they are indeed moving forward with a Young Justice Season 3. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this, guys. I mean, screw the election. This is what's on my mind today. So, all right. So, for those of you who don't know, Young Justice was an animated series that lasted 2 seasons on the Cartoon Network. Now, in it, teenage superheroes such as Nightwing, Robin, Aqualad, Kid Flash, Superboy, and many, many more were working as a covert team for the Justice League as more of a reconnaissance team. When the Justice League, they're very public, so they use their sidekicks, so to speak, to work on more covert missions and secret missions and stuff like that. Entertainment Weekly called it one of the 9 best animated TV series drawn from comics. The series reached more than 25 million viewers out of 2 seasons, and it was awesome. It has picked up a new life on Netflix as well. So if you want to check it out, both seasons are on Netflix. And there have been a lot of campaigns for this show about, to renew Justice League and, give it new life on a station like Netflix or something like that. I myself have contributed to this as well, where I used to leave the house in the morning, but I would turn on Young Justice on my Netflix, on the PlayStation, but then turn off my TV. So my TV was off, but my PlayStation on my Netflix was still playing Young Justice episodes, and usually it plays like 5 or 6 episodes before it goes. So it would, tell people on Netflix, hey, I'm watching Young Justice, when maybe I really wasn't watching Young Justice, but I wanted to support the cause. So I'm so excited that this show is going to pick up hopefully where it left off. This show is one of the more complicated and mature animated series that I've seen superhero-wise, especially even compared to like the Bruce Timm Batman and Superman and Justice League. It was on that next level, and it was just, gosh, it was the relationships between all the characters. So just to let you know, a little bit of history. Season 1, Young Justice, is when they first found Superboy. It was Aqualad, Kid Flash, and Robin. They found Campus Labs, and they found Superboy, who they were cloning at Superman to get him to fight Superman. They kind of rescued him, formed their own team, and at the end of Season 1, the Justice League had been mind-controlled by Vandal Savage, so then the kids had to take on their mentors. Robin was fighting Batman, Superboy was fighting Superman, and it was just good storytelling as far as the journeys they went through. And at the end of Season 2, you had them fighting an alien threat, and you also got to expand the team as well. Season 1 was focused mainly on these 5 to 6 main characters. So Season 2, takes place 5 years later, and the team had grown exponentially, where you got to introduce to a lot more characters such as Wonder Girl, Batgirl, Bumblebee, and Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle was kind of the centerpiece of Season 2 because the villains were the Reach, which are the aliens that really created the Beetle technology. And I knew nothing about the new Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes, and this really got me introduced and interested in the character. And I think it was a great representation of, again, minorities on TV, where people are asking for more African-American superheroes and more female-led superheroes. I think with what I saw of Blue Beetle in Young Justice, I can totally see a Hispanic-led superhero Blue Beetle movie. I think would really work out well. But yeah, Young Justice, if you haven't checked it out, please do me a favor and check it out. The first season, to be honest, you got to get through a couple of bad episodes. But if you can make it to the end of Season 1, I guarantee you'll love it. And Season 2 is all good. All of Season 2 is good. It's going to be awesome, guys. And then you're going to come back to me and say, thank you for getting me interested in the show. When does Season 3 come out? Well, unfortunately, they haven't actually planned when Season 3 is going to come out. Given that they just made the announcement, I doubt it's going to come out anytime soon. Probably with animation and all that stuff, it's going to come out probably 2018 is what people are guessing. But all the original voice casting is coming back, because that's the nice thing, is even though it's been several years since the show was canceled, with voice casting, they all sound the same, so it's perfectly fine. I'm really curious to see where they're going to end up, because season 1 and season 2 was 5 years later. So I'm not sure if they're going to make that jump again. One thing they could do, though, is leave exactly, pick up exactly where they left off. Because you had season 1 and just jumped ahead 5 years to season 2. So technically season 2 was in the future, and then you have season 3. So technically, by the time they do season 3, it's 2016. So it's very close to the present, so they might not jump ahead. They could pick up right where they left off. Although I honestly would like them to see a little bit of a time gap. It doesn't have to be 5 years, but give me maybe a year, maybe 2 or something like that. That's kind of the interesting part about season 2 is because it did jump ahead. So you saw how the characters have grown so much in that time, what happened between the relationships between all of them and stuff like that. So, I'm so excited. It also says producers Brandon Vietti and Greg Wiseman. Excuse me, I know I'm getting those names wrong. Sorry, guys. They're both coming back. Greg Wiseman, I follow him on Twitter. He's awesome. Not only did he do Young Justice, he did season 1 of Star Wars Rebels and also did Gargoyles. 2 very good animated shows as well. You also need to check out. But Young Justice season 2 coming out. I am super excited about it. Hit me up if you want to know more about this or talk about it because I love the show and I could talk about it all the time. All right, so jumping off into another DC show, the CW and DC Entertainment has announced that Talia al Ghul, the daughter of Ra's al Ghul, will be featured in upcoming episodes of The Arrow. She's going to make her premiere in the 10th episode of season 5, and they'll then appear on multiple episodes after that. Going to be played by Lexa Doing. I know I mispronounced that, but she's going to be playing Talia al Ghul. Now, this is not the first appearance of the character in this Arrowverse, or the CW DC world. In an episode of DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Sarah and Ray got stuck back in time several years ago, and Sarah went back to the League of Assassins, my bad. And in there, we saw a very young Talia al Ghul with her father, Ra's. And that's kind of the first time we saw Talia in this world. Of course, this one, she's going to be a little older. The producers are saying that the character is going to be worldly and cultured, an elite warrior who doesn't pick sides, but rather creates her own. Now, Talia al Ghul was created by Denny O'Neil, Bob Brown, and Dick Giordano, and first debuted in Detective Comics number 411 in 1971. Now, she's a highly trained assassin who has led the League of Assassins several times when her father, Ra's, has been allegedly dead. And she also has a very strong connection to Batman, in which case they share a son. The current Robin, Damian Wayne, is her son. So they do have that connection. And she has made a feature debut in the 2012 Dark Knight Rises, played by Marion Cotillard. So Talia al Ghul, one of the more infamous Batman villains, is going to show up on Arrow. Okay, that sounds great, but I'm not disappointed. I'm not surprised, really, but I don't know why, to be honest, because we already have a daughter of Ra's al Ghul, which was Nessa, and the actress who played her, the time she spent on Arrow, I think she's done a really good job. I would much rather keep exploring that character than bringing in Talia. I don't know if they're going to bring her on as kind of, a person who wants to have revenge for what Oliver did to her father in season 3, or is she somehow working with this new archer, Prometheus? I think that's more likely the case. Or is she Prometheus? That could be the case too. I don't know. If we're going to have Talia back, though, I want to bring back Nessa as kind of that, sisterly rivalry. I think we'll definitely get something going there. But the character, again, I know Arrow is kind of, referenced as being Batman at sometimes. It's really more Batman than it is Green Arrow. But Talia is in love with Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. She sees him as her soulmate, as her, her partner that she was meant to be with. So bringing her in Arrow, okay, that's fine if you're bringing her in a sense as a foil for Nessa or to have some relation with Prometheus. But I don't think you need to bring her in. I mean, like I said, she has such strong ties to Batman and Bruce Wayne. Bringing her into Arrow, it's not necessary. Now, Arrow season 5 is on the upswing. Season 4 I did not like at all. Season 3 I didn't mind, but towards the end there it did kind of become lackluster. Season 5 has so far has been on the upswing, mainly because they very stick to low-key street crime. I mean, Oliver Queen is just a guy with a bow and arrow, okay? He's not super fast. He's not, a Kryptonian alien. He's not a legend time traveler. He has to deal with the street crime, and I like that they've stuck with that. Now, granted, they're bringing in another Archer for this, which is really what, they've had several of those in this series or in this universe, really. Kind of the copycat villains is what it's really known for. But Prometheus, they could play the angle. I can believe it if they play this Prometheus angle right. If it does have some kind of connection to Talia al Ghul as some kind of revenge for Oliver killing Roz, then I could totally see that happening. I just say if you're going to bring in Talia, I think you got to bring Nessa back just, for that foil so you can get their sister relationship and maybe even their competitiveness to where I'm sure Roz is the kind of father who would, pin his own children against each other. So, in any event, Talia al Ghul coming back into the limelight. We'll see how it goes. Something tells me we're not going to get Damian Wayne out of this, but we'll see how it goes. Right now, I'm trusting the team of Arrow, considering, like I said, the show is on the upswing. So that was my last bit of TV news. So now we're going to talk a little movies. Still sticking in the DC universe, though. So according to the Wrap, it is reported that Ciarán Hinds, I know I mispronounced that name, as you know I do that a lot. Anyway, the actor is going to be the chief antagonist in the upcoming Justice League film directed by Zack Snyder. He's going to be playing Steppenwolf. Now, we've actually seen this character before in a deleted scene in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice or Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice The Ultimate Cut. He was actually in the alien spacecraft with Lex Luthor when the government guys, the SWAT team, came to grab Lex Luthor and he disappeared. Now, they said that this Steppenwolf, who's going to be in the Justice League, is going to look a lot better than the CGI character we saw in that deleted scene. God, let's hope so. But he's going to be Hinds, pretty much doing motion capture for the character. Now, for those of you who don't know, Hinds has been busy within recent years in the realm of geekdom or fantasy stuff. He played Mace Raider on Game of Thrones, and he's also played Aberforth Dumbledore, or Albus Dumbledore's brother, in the last Harry Potter film. He's also done voice acting for the film Frozen 2. So, a great actor stepping in to do this role. Sounds good to me. The only thing is, it's a motion capture, so I'm not sure how much of his performance is going to come across. He's a great actor. I mainly know from what he did on Game of Thrones, and he owned every scene he was in. So that's going to be exciting. It's just a matter of how much motion capture he's going to do. Are you really going to be able to tell it's him? Or is this going to be a complete CGI character where he's just, got a bunch of bubbles around? I'd like to not cover up his face as much because, like I said, he's a good actor. I want to get a good performance out of the villain. And the more CGI you put in him, the less I think that's going to come across. Now, I say that, of course, but then there's this guy named Andy Serkis and his role in the Planet of Apes franchises, which has just blown me away with his motion capture and what he's able to do with that character, just in motions, and it's amazing. So I can say that now, but with an actor like Hinds, you got to give him the room to be great, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So the more I see of his performance, the better I think it's going to be. So I just don't want it to be straight CG. Now, of course, this also confirms what they've been rumored about for a while, that in the first Justice League film, Darkseid is not going to be the main villain. Now, Steppenwolf is a character who actually works for Darkseid and kind of helps lead his army. and he's a member of the New Gods. He made his first appearance in 1972's New Gods issue number 7. He's got a long history in the DCU with fighting heroes such as Superman, The Flash, and even Doomsday. So his character, he's still pretty formidable, but he's still working for the bigger bad, which is Doomsday, Darkseid, which I think we're going to see in the second Justice League movie, or I believe will probably be teased at the end of the first Justice League film. But in any event, a great actor for a film that I'm excited to see, so I'm all about it. All right, a couple more items to go through. We're stepping out of the DC world. I got no Harry Potter or Star Wars stuff to talk about. I mean, I do have a Harry Potter story, but Lisa's not here, so I'm probably going to save that for next week, which, by the way, guys, next week we are seeing Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them on Thursday. We're seeing it late, so I don't think you're going to get a review right afterwards, but probably sometime that weekend, Lisa and I are going to sit down and do a Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them review, so look for that next weekend. So, keep it with movie news. Producer Andrew Form, who is the producer of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sequel Out of the Shadows, was talking with Collider, and he kind of expressed his opinion that there won't be a third film in the series. He says, "I don't think there's Turtles 3, but I wouldn't say there's never going to be another Turtles movie." Now, this film earned $245 million worldwide and was only half of what the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film did in 2014. So, all I can say is, look, guys, I often credit myself as being a child of the 80s. I was born in 83, but as I've said on the show before, I'm really more between 85 and 95. You know, like the Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I was like into them like the first 1 or 2 seasons, but by the time season 3 came around, I was too old for it. Other 90s shows like Captain Planet and the Batman animated series and all that stuff, I was still young enough to like, but by the time 95 came around, I was getting a little too old before I kind of stepped out. So really 85, 95 is what my wheelhouse was. And what was in that time frame was Ninja Turtles. My second favorite animated series when I was a kid. I had all the Turtles toys. I loved the original movies. I still love the first live action film. When I heard they were doing a new interpretation and Michael Day was producing, I got a little worried. And then I saw the first film, and I gotta say, I felt like someone had reached inside of me, pulled out my spine, and lit it on fire. Okay, that first film was atrocious to what the mythology of the Ninja Turtles were. But in this second film, Out of the Shadows, I saw the previews, and I was like, well, they got Stephen Amell, one of my favorite actors now, as Casey Jones. They're bringing in Krang, Bebop, and Rocksteady, and it looks like it's going to be closer to that animated series that was kind of hokey. And as long as I walk into this film thinking it's going to be a joke, maybe I'll enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it, but it was better than what that first film was. The fact that they, made the CGI turtles basically giant transformers, and that they learned their ninjutsu from a book that Master Splinter just picked up out of the sewer, was an insult to what the mythology of the turtles is. And I don't get that, because right now, IDW Publishing has a Ninja Turtles series that's going on for several years now. I've got, I think, 12 or 13 volumes of it that I own. I think there's 15 out or whatever. But it's a good stuff. It's really good stuff, actually. It's kind of that cross between the hardcore early black and white Ninja Turtles and the funny animated show Turtles. And I don't get why they just couldn't take directly from that, or as closely as they could. It's like they just didn't care. They didn't try to, make this movie good. They just tried to make it entertainable, which it's Michael Bay. I mean, look at the Transformer movies and you can see how it's going to go. But there's no Turtles 3, according to Andrew Form, and I like that. But he said, of course, I wouldn't say there's never going to be another Turtles movie. Of course there's never going to be not another Turtles movie, okay? This franchise has issues. There's still a lot of people out there like myself that still love the characters and the mythology and what it all means. The problem is your execution on it, okay? I'm not saying we have to go back to rubber suits for the Ninja Turtles, but one thing, especially that first film did, was lose the focus of the Turtles. It was focused on Megan Fox's character, April O'Neil, which that was a huge mistake right there. You need to focus on the Turtles, okay? These Turtles have 4 distinct personalities, okay? And they work together. And that's what I say that first live action film did, was you had the Turtles, they fought and they came together, and it was about them. It wasn't about April or all the human characters. And that's the thing I hate about the Transformers movies now, is because it's all about the human characters, and really the Transformers are just CGI background for action, and it's no. Okay? The film is called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let's learn about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and again, that there's something there that these movie producers and studios aren't getting. They've got it, okay? They know it's there, okay? You caught it with a cartoon series. You caught it with the live-action movie. You caught it with that CGI one. Even the TMNT 2007 movie was good, okay? You got to bring the focus back. You got to get rid of Michael Bay. That's number one. Why Michael Bay is still making these 80s, film live action, I don't know. Well, I do know because the Transformer movies are still making billions of dollars, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just reboot, okay? Give it a couple years, reboot, and focus on the source material, okay? If you go back to Kevin Eastman and, what's the other guy who made it? I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. But go back to the creators and say, hey, what worked as for the Turtles, okay? Why are these characters popular? And they're going to tell you it's not about their ninjutsu. It's about the characters. It's about the leader, the rebel, the fungi, the brain. These are 4 very distinct personalities. They're brothers, and they fight, and then they fight together, and it's about them. It's not about freaking April O'Neil, okay? Yeah, she's a side character, okay? She introduces us to the world. I get it, but she is not it. And I gotta say, I was very disappointed in Stephen Amell as Casey Jones. And I get it wasn't Stephen Amell's fault, because the way they wrote the character, the way he was used in the film, isn't the Casey Jones I know from any other interpretation, whether it be the comics or the cartoon or even the other live action movies. And maybe you could say, well, they're trying to do something different. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, kids, okay? And guess what you did? You took something that wasn't broke and you broke it. And that's why these films didn't work. So go back to the drawing board, go back to the original source material, regroup in a few years, and we'll see what you can spit out, okay? I'm done. All right, I need a minute here. I'm going to calm down. Woosah. Okay, I'm calm. So, while I'm on my nerd rage, I might as well go on to something else I'm very passionate about. Universal Pictures has recently got a deal with DreamWorks Animation, and in some form or another, I guess, have inherited the rights to a live-action feature film of Voltron. So, apparently, Deadline is reporting that screenwriter David Hayter, who has wrote films such as X-Men and Watchmen, is currently in the works to write a film version of Voltron. The animated series Voltron, Defender of the Universe debuted in 1984 and focused on a team of 5 astronauts that piloted individual robot lions. These lions, of course, then came together to form Voltron, Defender of the Universe. Sorry, I had to say the line. The series was remained popular for, 30 years now, and has spawned several animated series as well as a bunch of comic books. And recently, earlier this year, Netflix rebooted or gave a new interpretation of the mythology with Voltron Legendary Defender that debuted back in June. It was a Netflix exclusive series produced by DreamWorks Animation, and I gotta tell you, it's pretty awesome. So, remember when I said that I am that kid that was between 85 and 95? Well, Voltron, the Legendary Defender, fits right in there as well, and it was one of my jams too. As excited as all you kids are about Power Rangers, coming back or whatever, guess what? Power Rangers took its cue from Ninja Turtles and Voltron, okay? When I first saw Power Rangers on the air, my first thought was, well, this is pretty much the Ninja Turtles in robots like Voltron. So, all you little Power Ranger lovers, this is Granddaddy, okay? So let's get that straight from the get-go. Voltron Legendary Defender, I actually just, after this news broke, I actually went back and I'm starting to rewatch season 1 on Netflix. If you haven't checked it out, it's really cool. It's from the people that actually brought you, Nickelodeon's Legend of Korra, which I know is that offshoot of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I'll admit, I've seen a couple episodes of Avatar, haven't seen any of Legend of Korra, but I know a lot of you are fans of that, so if you like this, go check out Voltron. Even if you're not a fan of the original Defender of the Universe series, I think you might get a little kick out of this. So, any event, Voltron coming live action, totally awesome. Of course, it's one of those properties, much like He-Man or Thundercats, one of those 80s properties they've been talking about wanting to do for a long time. Looks like they have an official writer on it now, so that could be cool. If we don't get this live action series, I'm okay with it though, because again, I really like what Netflix is doing with Legendary Defender, and I think it's a really good animated series, much up there, like I said, Young Justice and Voltron. They're more sophisticated animated series than some of the other stuff we've gotten. So I'm okay not getting a live action Voltron just because we have something else, which is called Pacific Rim. Now, when I first saw Pacific Rim by Guillermo del Toro in theaters, the premise is giant robots powered by people inside of them fighting giant monsters. Well, it's pretty much what Voltron is. I mean, you got giant robots fighting giant monsters, trying to save people, and I'm sitting there watching this movie, and I'm like, oh man, this is cool. It's almost like I'm watching live action Voltron. All they're missing is a blazing sword. Oh my god, they pulled out a sword! And I was so excited. So yeah, that was, kind of the first inclination that Voltron live action would be awesome. And again, it's one of the things where it's got a really deep mythology. Again, check out the Netflix series if you want to get more into it. But it's really cool, especially, what they could do with it. Could be a great franchise for the studio. And I know Universal is on the uptick right now. Last year, they had a big year with Fast and Furious and Jurassic World. Well, this would be another great franchise for them to pick up if they did it properly. You just saw how Warner Brothers and whoever did Ninja Turtles, they totally dropped the ball on that. Totally dropped the ball because they didn't treat the mythology with respect. What Voltron, the Legendary Defender, is doing is not only treating it with respect, but also adding a little something new to it to broaden the mythology. And I'm totally excited. So, if they do it right, great. If they don't do it right, much like what they did with Ninja Turtles and what Michael Bay is doing with the Transformers, then I'm going to be on here just mad as hell. But luckily, like I said, I still have the Netflix series or the original 84 series. But all I can say is it's awesome. So before I go, I'm going to go and recite you the Voltron intro. Ready for this? Hold on. Let me get a sip. Let's see if I can remember this. Okay. From days of long ago, from uncharted parts of the galaxy, comes the legend of Voltron, a mighty robot, loved by good, feared by evil. As Voltron's legend grew, peace settled throughout the galaxy. A galaxy alliance was formed. Together with the good planets of the solar system, they maintained peace throughout the galaxy, until a new threat came. Voltron was needed once more. This is the story of the super space explorers, specially trained and sent by the Alliance to bring back Voltron. Voltron, Defender of the Universe. I know I messed up a little bit there, but that was kind of the gist of the intro of the original series. So, there you go. All right, I did want to talk about one more thing, guys, which was the Starship Troopers reboot they're going to do, which is going to be more closely to the book than the actual 1997 film. But I think I'm going to skip that for now, guys, and leave you on that good Voltron note where you're like, what the hell is this guy on? And again, I hate sitting here by myself because I feel like I just ramble and it's not a good program, but I do the best I can with what I've got. So hopefully next time Lisa will be here, or maybe even Josh. I can have someone to bounce discussions off of. But the most important thing is not what I think about these topics, it's what you think. So hit me back, Facebook group, Twitter, dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Let me know what you're excited. Are you excited for a Voltron movie? Are you excited for Young Justice coming back? Are you not looking forward to, another Ninja Turtles movie? Let me know what's going on, guys, okay? You can hit me up personally, Slim Dayspring 12 on Twitter and Instagram. And that's going to be it for you guys. So, on that note, I guess say, cowabunga!